Well, yeah. So, Sam, do you want to have a chat with us about Tower House Wealth Management and how you got into that as well?
Yeah. It was sort of inevitable for me. I had a father who was a financial advisor for 35 years, so it wasn't a lot he didn't do in that time. It worked for it had been HSBC back when it was Mid-Shires Bank, and it had seen the industry through varying phases. I've been lucky enough that when I came into the industry, the qualification criteria had taken a real big step up. So post 2012, it became a totally different landscape. So I came in very young to the profession. I was advising by the time I'm going to get this wrong, but 24, 25, it was very early 20s, which is, considering the industry's probably average age for financial advisors about 50, it is considerably younger. And then after it was 2020, my dad decided that he was going to retire. It was quite a sudden event. He'd always planned to step down, do a couple of years part time, and that never happened. So we ended up with pretty much just 6 months, and I took over as managing director. I've built the team and the business that we've got in front of us now. So when I started, there was 3 of us. There's a team of 13 now, and to be honest, we'll grow it to where it needs to go or keep it where it is. We just respond to demand. We've got no real plan about size or scale. I love the size of business. We class ourselves as an SME, and probably a bigger SME as opposed to a small one. And I love that because we've just moved away from the pains of being a small business, but don't have the headaches of being a medium business. I think when you start to lose touch with who your staff are, and you move that step back to management beyond, really knowing each individual in your office, that's not the business for me. I enjoy knowing everyone, knowing what people like, being able to go out as a team and have a business where people want to stay and work, and it's slightly different. I know you mentioned when you were speaking about traditional stuffy offices and and not particularly exciting environment, and we try and just make it more interesting. And I think you have to be a good employer in today's world. The core of the business is it's a financial planning business, so advice around pensions, investments, inheritance tax, life assurance, those sort of things. But for me, it's much more about just getting a person through the door, sitting down, listening to them, their life, where they're at and where they want to get to, and then working out what, all these topics and products and things like that. It's our job is just to listen to people and kind of work out what they need. And you kind of broadly span, you wear an investment hat because this investment involves, so, which funds to use, risk profile and things like that. You wear the tax planning hat of which products to use, but actually it often stems into your world as well, where we're talking to people about remuneration planning, and our first meetings are checking that people aren't doing things in a bad way or a nonsensical way. So it kind of strays into a bit of accountancy, a bit of tax planning, and then the last hat is the sort of kind of knits it all together, which is a sort of financial planner's hat of going, right, we've got we've got your investment strategy, we know that solution, we've got the appropriate products to use, and then the financial plan is kind of bringing that all together to go, what are we actually working towards, what are the goals and objectives. We've got a massive emphasis on the business of goals-based planning. So instead of just sitting down and going, I want to make an investment. You go, well, why do you want to make the investment? What's it for? What are you trying to achieve? What do you actually want from it? What will you use it for at that point? Because actually, if you start with the end in mind with these things like risk profile take care of themselves. There's a natural, if it's a shorter term objective, naturally the risk profile is going to sit with a shorter term objective. If it's a really long term objective, and understanding how people work is a big part for us. I'm a bit of a geek, we've already touched on that, so I absolutely love cash flow forecasting, and it's personal cash flow forecasting. So building people a visual plan of where they are, where they want to be, any shortfalls. I love my spreadsheets as well, but then yours, I'm actually an envy of them, to be quite honest. I look at them and go, oh wow, it is. That's an area, because I think when you see someone click. And I think often people come to our meetings thinking, yeah, this is going to be boring, or this is, and I think they get us wrong, or certainly I hope by the end of the meeting they think, I got that person right, I got the tone of this meeting wrong, and they leave thinking either feeling a bit more confident, a bit more empowered about the decisions, or just feeling much more engaged with their finances. Some people just don't like finances, and I've got clients who want to know the nitty-gritty and work really closely with investments, all those decisions. I've got people who just are totally disconnected from it and just want someone to sort of deal with everything. And I think in life, I'm one of those people when it comes to other things. Like my relationship with professionals I work with, I'm a bit of a just do everything for me. I think if you're a business professional, you do that. So you put a ton of trust into people. Our whole relationship revolves around trust, and actually what we're tending to find is, whilst a lot of clients come to us through professional introduction, often our relationship is longer lasting because say for example, if you have a client who's got a business, after that business is sold or ends, often that relationship might come to an end. But we're often brought in at the start of that business when they might need protection, shareholders agreements, all those type of things, and then as they start to get more profitable, extracting profit out right through to the sale, where that becomes probably the biggest piece of advice they'll ever need. What do I do when your income stops, and what you've done for 30, 40 years that's always delivered your family's life stops, and you've given a lump sum of money and you've got to make that last the rest of your life, and you've got to achieve things, and people start talking to you about horrible topics like inheritance tax. Our role is to try and take that and make sure they're confident in their plan for the rest of their life. And actually the relationship you build with, we're a people industry, the relationship you build over that time is just, it's incredible. I like to think, there's a lot of clients we work with that I consider friends now. And that's a fine line. You've got to keep, you never ever let your professional guard down with that, and you've got to, they've got to always be able to challenge you. I think a good client relationship is one where people feel that if something goes wrong, or they're concerned, that they pick the phone up and they can ask you, knowing that you'll give them the honest answer and you'll talk to them about.
You're not going to waffle around.
No, you just and I think you can maintain that relationship where you've got a close personal connection, but also can be the consummate professional at all points. So, I'm very passionate about what I do. I love going out and meeting new people, and I find the industry fascinating, and do things like our budget conversations. It's you realise it's nice when you work with someone who shares that interest with you as well. So the sort of linear sort of facts of the company, we started in 2008, and so I was going, we've been going 10 years, and I realised that would be 2018, and it's now 2024. So it's been a lot longer than that. And those years are going by. There's myself, and then there's two other advisors in the team. You've had interactions with Matt and Matt before, and we've got some specialisations in the team, whether it's tax advantage investments or whether it's dealing with mortgages on a personal basis, where Matt and Matt both have their skill sets as well. And as I say, we've sort of built that team up to a point now where we're happy with the size that we've achieved.
You've got a nice team there. Again, when you pop into the office, it's always nice to they'll say hello, they'll have a chat. They're not sort of like that, ignoring people, are they? They're all, and that speaks volumes about the company and the ethos of the company as well. Is people feel enabled to have a chat and say hi and acknowledge other people when they walk in and stuff like that. It's nice to see another firm like that as well, sort of thing. It's again, you look after our finances. We've passed on quite a few clients of ours to yourself as well, because we know that they're going to be looked after. They're going to be,
service is everything.
Yeah, that's it. It's, if you're not in the, we're very much at the service base. We're at the forefront of service, and if you're not there to provide that service, then what are you sort of doing in that sort of sector? And again, it's people buy from people. They don't buy from the business. They buy from the person in that business, sort of thing. And that's what we enjoy doing. So.
We've spent a lot of time on our client experience or proposition, so that things are handled as professionally as possible. From even just how you book your first meeting and the communication you get going through that journey, And I think in most industries now where things go wrong is lack of communication.
Oh, yeah.
We often find our industry, a lot of the time, we've got huge timescales against us because if we're gathering information on various different investments and pensions and things like that, often the timescales can be weeks and weeks to get responses, and the key is just keeping your client informed. I think a lot of business is very simple, and we all boil back to the same place. We don't want to think we've been forgotten. And so we drive a lot around communication. We make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, but we try really hard that every time we've made a mistake, we learn from it, and if we need to alter within the process how we do things. But I've got my ambition with the business now is just to be a sort of household name in LinkedIn. I don't want to take over the world. It's not. I've got 4 children at home. I've got all I would like is that if somebody is talking to their friend over a coffee and they say, actually, I really need to talk to someone about my pension, that ours is the name that's thought of. They go,
Tower House.
Speak to Tower House or speak to Sam. I know someone there and I know the person for that job, and that's the name that comes to people's mind. That's the goal for me.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's what we do that quite regularly with our clients. It's like, I'm looking at doing this, or I'm looking at pensions. Have a word with Sam. Have a word with we're looking at a mortgage. How do I go about that? And have a word with Sam and Matt, the guys at Tower House, because they look at you, the person, and what your goal is and what you want out of it, sort of thing. Not just here's a product, off you go, sort of thing. And that's what we enjoy. And that's what we like, sort of thing as well. So nice. Brilliant. So
thank you.
Thanks again.